Alrighty there, Grease Lightning. Slow down for me there, bud. All right, who's a good boy? Yeah, you're a good boy. Well, it's that time of year, Peepers. The long-awaited Creepy Peepers Halloween special. And your old pal Slappy is here to wish you a slappy Halloween. Ha 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 ha. Only kidding, of course, but hey, in all honesty, the Peepers have got quite the show for you tonight. In this episode, they talk about their Halloween pet peeves, good memories, decorations that have lasted throughout the years and some that are a little lazier than others. And they might have a little secret at the end of this podcast for those of you who stay to listen. So get ready, get set, and go, 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 because it's time now for the Creepy Peepers Show.
Happy Halloween, Peepers. It's Nigel and Dane. Are you all right?
I'm sorry. I'm feeling the Halloween spirit.
Oh, well, let's hope it's not the spirit Halloween. We don't want to get copyrighted.
What are you doing out of here? Get out of here, spirit Halloween guy. Anyways, listen. Listen, folks, don't eat too much candy. I make the same mistake every year. I get a whole bag full and I say, okay, I'm going to have 3 small Kit Kat bars. And you know what I do?
What do you do?
I vomit back up 19 of those things the next day. And I spend my Dile de los Muertos with chocolate waterfalls shooting out of my nose and mouth. That's Halloween for me, folks, and I'm stopping myself this time. I'm stopping it right here, and you should too. Okay, so be safe out there with your candy and inspect it for razor blades or syphilis or something.
Oh, man, what is this gross bit you're doing? I hope all the kids at home are covering their ears.
Yeah, I hope you guys are put to bed. I hope you're asleep by now because our podcast is so boring. But this is this is a segue, right? We're gonna segue somehow with the topic of Halloween into me and Nigel's Halloween experience growing up as children. Isn't that right?
Yeah. So right before recording, and really quick, let me disclaim. Before all the guys in the comment section, Peepers, why didn't you do Halloween for Halloween?
Yeah.
Well, we'll explain. So unfortunately, as you heard in our last podcast, we were on the Nut Tap cruise. So
we were having a nut tag on Elm cruise. Wait, hang on. Let me try that again. We were having a nut tag on the Freedom of the Seas. You know that still doesn't work.
No, I thought that was. I would have said the same thing. I was going to say a nut tag on Elm Seas.
Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. There you go. You said it perfectly.
Yep.
But yeah, we were on the cruise, and we brought a bunch of movies to review. We ended up only reviewing really one on the cruise, but that's because we were on a cruise, and we forgot it was October.
That's true.
Yeah. Anyways, I brought a bunch of horror films to talk about, and where else to put them in our cabin on the cruise ship than displayed all around the place, you know? And me and him even had an argument setting up where the Evil Dead series would go and what we called the classic movies section. And we put it inside these 2 like sort of mirror cabinets. And I didn't mention this to you, Nigel, but I remember on the first day we put them in there and you close the cabinets and I thought, oh I'm gonna forget that those are in there. And so I went over and I opened them, and then they must have been closed at some point, and I just didn't notice. And we left. Unfortunately, we left the cruise ship without some movies of mine.
And unfortunately, I feel bad. I feel bad because it was all the like really the classics. You had Halloween. Didn't you have like all the
Uh-huh.
nightmares?
No, I think. Ooh, you know what? You might be right. I'm gonna double check later after the show, but you might be right. I hope you're wrong. But if so, here's the thing. Okay. Yeah, it sucks that I lost because that Halloween Blu-ray, that was the new one, the brand new like 4K one. It came
Yeah.
with the 4K, came with Blu-ray, and then it came with like an original like screening like version, like something really cool like that. And that was expensive. That was like $30 or something. But like what's good about this is like the Evil Dead movies that I had, the original trilogy, they were all on DVD copy. Um, the DVD for Evil Dead 1 looks spectacular, though. I don't know how but I mean, that movie looks crystal clear, and it's not even Blu-ray.
Yeah,
But
that one they THX remastered.
oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But other than that, though, all the my Evil Dead trilogy was on various DVD copies, and when I get movies with multiple sequels, I kind of tend to want to neatly have them kind of together. You know, I don't want them to look various. You know, so
Yeah.
I always pass up the Evil Dead trilogy collection Blu-ray box set, and it's multiple variations. I mean, there are so many different versions of this box set out there. Um, but I always pass it when I'm in V stock. I pass by like 5 of those things. And they all have these amazing covers, and it's like Book of the Dead edition, where it's like the DVD or not the Blu-ray case is like the book, and you have to open it and whatnot. And I'm always like, I already have these movies, so like there's no need to buy them twice. I'm not gonna upgrade to Blu-ray until something happens to these movies. Well, now something's happened to these movies. And so I'm trying to cheer myself up by looking forward to upgrading to Blu-ray for these movies
But this
because
will be good
this will be
because
good.
Evil Dead Rise, you had also left on the ship. And think about it.
Yes.
You passed up the 3-pack. Now that's good because now you got the 4-pack coming up.
Yes. Hopefully there'll be a full 4-pack, a quality 4-pack, not one of those like Walmart like here's 4 random comedies. It's like what?
Dude, I freaking hate. Don't you hate when like there's some like obscure movie that you want to watch, and they're like, you know what? Why don't I just buy it on DVD? And then you go and try to find it, and it's like, okay, we know you're trying to find National Lampoon's European Vacation, but why not National Lampoon's Dorm Days and European Vacation and Monkey Town Dorm Days Fart Contest Edition and Road Trip Beer Pong? Like, what the frick?
Like what? Why is that last one in there?
Exactly.
There's always one in the pack that's like, what? Where? Why are you here? I've never heard of you.
Or I'll try to find like John Candy's like, let me get John Candy's Summer Rental on DVD. And it's like, okay, we're gonna give you John Candy's Delirious, Who's Harry Crone, Summer Rental, and Planes, Trains, and Flintstones and Viva Rock Vegas.
Yeah. But to get back on track, we were talking about our Halloween experiences as a kid.
Oh, that's right.
And
Yeah, so
who should go first, I guess.
I'll give a little background, but if you have a story first, then you can go first. Basically, before we started filming, I was like, Dane, unfortunately, because we didn't know about the lack of the DVDs until very recently. I don't know if Dane, you might have known sooner, but
I literally found out today
yeah,
because
I was gonna say
I found out today because you had said, "All right, we'll watch Halloween, and then we'll review it for Halloween," which was our
Yeah.
plan. And then I went, "Okay," and then I went, well, I wonder where it is. In fact, I wonder where Evil Dead is. Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
Army of Darkness seems to be gone too. Oh, the remake to and Evil Dead Rise. Oh, why not Little Shop? Yeah, why not? Yeah, why not? You can have that. Thanks, Freedom of the Seas. Go ahead. Just take more of my movies.
Yeah.
Anyways, see, that was me letting it go, folks.
Yeah, you really spun out of control. I was scared. I was shaking in my space boots.
In your space.
But yeah, basically when I that was our original plan, but I was like, you know what, Dane, we still gotta get something out because I know our
Right.
fans want to hear from us this Halloween, and we wanted to give something to you too.
Yeah.
Actually, Peepers, there was a whole evolution of what our Halloween plans were going to be, because
Mm-hmm.
of course we're the creepy Peepers. We've jumped around here and there as far as like consistency when it comes to uploading, but here's at the heart of it, we knew we got to hit it hard for Halloween. Okay, we got to bring
Right.
it back, old format, weekly-ish posts. So we're like, okay. Um, so our original plan actually was to do a full-length special. I had actually written out a few skits, which we can go over actually after we do this next little section here where we tell our Halloween plans.
Yeah.
But I had written out a few skits for him, and like there was like a whole story arc and everything for it. It wasn't going to be that long. It was maybe like 15-20 minutes, but like that's what it originally was going to be. It was going to be a full video, and then we were also going to review Halloween. That was the big plan.
We had a lot
Then we
of.
were like, yeah, we had a lot of big plans. We then were like, okay, maybe we'll just review Halloween. Like that was after Cruise, because once Cruise came around, like after Cruise, we were like, like let's try to cut down our time. Let's at least get some podcasts out.
And then we
And
were
then
too
this
busy on the
happened.
cruise.
Exactly. Yeah. Once we got on the cruise, we are like, because even on the cruise, we're like, okay, we're gonna film like 3 podcasts, and then we'll try
Yeah.
to get like, you know, but things don't always turn
A
out as
cruise
planned.
ship,
But
folks, cruise ships will tire you out
oh yeah,
because
you'll be beat.
you have to walk everywhere you go. And you
Yeah.
don't realize that you've spent the whole day walking until you get back to your cabin. You go, man, I walked all day today. That's just all I did.
And it's hot. You're sweating. Like you're toiling.
What was weird is it was cloudy and kind of windy on a lot of days we were down there, and I was still full sweat.
Yep. Full sweat.
Full sweat. I mean, and I was always full sweat because, the nut tagger, he could be around any corner. Yeah.
Nut tapper. He's
Yeah.
the man that will tap your nuts. Cha cha cha. Ding-a-ding-a-ding. He'll tap your nuts.
Yeah, we've
Nut
had a good time with this ever since it happened. But
It's a good
I'll,
bit. I
I'll tell you
appreciate
what,
it.
folks. I can't recall any specific Halloween stories that I have yet, but I know I have a few good tidbits. But it sounds like Nigel has like some ready to go.
Oh, I've got some. I've got some
Yeah.
good ones.
So why don't you take that away while I try and formulate my narrative?
No problem. Okay, so right off the bat, I kept sidetracking. I don't even know how I kept sidetracking, but basically, I was like, you know what, Dane, let's still get something out for the people. Why don't we talk about our Halloween experiences as kids? Because
Right.
I think since we're somewhat adolescents still, we can give like a fresh-ish perspective. Um, so first off,
Like a Halloween
uh,
update.
wait, what'd you say?
Like a Halloween update.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, Halloween update. So basically, right off the bat, and this one's just a complaint, but like this still like goes with what we're talking about. Okay, so what's the deal with the guy And we all have. Hopefully, this is a shared experience because I know Dane knows what I'm talking about, and
Yeah.
other like people who I know local, like other kids I know about this. But you go up to their house, you say trick or treat, and like that's the rules. That's always been the rules. Who was telling their kids when they were growing up, be sure to have a joke prepared too, because
Yeah.
some idiot with a Bass Pro baseball cap is gonna make sure that you tell him a joke before he
Yeah.
gives you any candy.
Uh-huh. I mean, like, apparently, yeah, like, that's like medieval time stuff right there. It's like, that's medieval Halloween. Perform a trick and I'll feed you. You know,
Yeah, like that's just
you fail,
ridiculous.
you get nothing. And here's, what I found out.
What?
I don't know if this is true or not because I just heard this. I overheard this from some other guy, but I heard that like in St. Louis that it's like actually tradition that you have to do a trick um or something for Halloween to get candy.
Maybe
And
it
like
is. Maybe that's it.
people from that area, like when they find out kids just go door to door and get candy, they're like, "What?" Like it's like culture shock.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Because that's always to give. And for anyone who doesn't know, and let me give a little context. So when we would go to when or like when and Dane, you know this too, but like when you go trick or treating, and like sometimes you'd go door to door, and for me, I would like knock on the door, and I'd be like trick or treat, and then the guy will be like, "Oh, hey, you gonna tell me a joke? You guys got a joke?" Sometimes, like before you can even say trick or treat, you go up, and the guy's like, "You guys got a joke?" And it's like, "What the frick? No, am I bartering? Is this like Native American trade? What do you mean?
Exactly.
Do I have a joke?"
And that's just guys who are put on the spot very quickly and are trying to
And I'm
think
a
of something
kid,
funny
so I
to
don't know any
say.
jokes. Like
Right,
now, you're
exactly.
like, okay. But like 5 years old, do you have a joke? No, knock knock.
No,
Who's
he
there? Why the
doesn't.
chicken cross the road? I don't know.
He don't got no jokes that you'll find funny, you know?
I don't
And
know
like
no jokes about the climate.
I recently handed out candy at a trunk or treat a few days ago, and I understand, when a bunch of kids with big bulging eyes and sharp teeth come up with a bag and they just stare at you. A lot of these kids didn't say anything. They just kind of walked up and just, you know.
But that's
It's
because you can't do that to a kid. Like kids
right,
are anxious creatures. We're
exactly.
Halloween is already scary for a kid. We don't know if you're a pedo. Like we don't know. So
We don't know who
don't
you
fucking
are.
be asking me to tell you a joke so you can get your rocks off. Like I don't got no patience for people. Because that's just I don't know. Because they're never nice about it either. They demand their joke. If you don't have a joke, I've genuinely seen kids not get candy because they weren't prepared with a joke.
Yeah,
Or they'll tell them a joke that again, you're a kid, so you don't know anything like good, but it's like one of those sentence jokes where it's like, why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. They're like, yeah, good enough here. Like what?
like
And they're serious. They're
they're
fully
gonna give the
serious.
candy.
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't know. That's just that's one too many
That's
for me.
irritating. And you know what?
Yeah.
I have a similar story. Um, with just weird drunk adults on Halloween that just they miss the whole point. And similar to that, I remember one Halloween. I think I was 8. I decided to be Mikael Myers himself, the man we were supposed to talk about tonight. Um, Next year, folks. Oh yeah. But I dressed up as Mikael Myers. I had a foam knife. I had a big wobbly mask and a nice, but very plastic nylon blue jumpsuit. And I was walking.
Ooh, a whole ensemble.
Yeah, the whole ensemble. I look pretty good. And I walked up to a house, and when I was a horror kid, as I am today, so I knew I was Michael Myers. I was not Jason or Chucky or whoever else. Okay? So I go up to this house and this guy's like, "Whoa, it's Jason!" I'm like, "I swear to
Oh my
God,
god!
are you
Because they
serious
think
right
they're
now?"
right too. They think they're
Exactly.
right. They're like, you're
And
just a kid. You wouldn't know.
what's funny is I was a kid and I began to start to yell back like, "No, I'm Michael Myers. No, I'm Michael Myers." But here's the thing: I stopped myself because, first of all, I was wearing the Michael Myers mask, and when you're inside the Michael Myers mask, you don't talk just
Yeah.
automatically because you feel like Michael Myers. So that stopped me. But you know what else stopped me? My mom.
What?
My mom stopped me. She just kind of held my hand and just she like gave me a look and she was like, "Oh, haha, happy Halloween," and then we like left. It was
You just
funny.
ran away from his house. You're like, she like feels you like shaking physically in your suit. She's like, "Oh, we have to leave. We have to leave."
I was fuming. I remember I complained to my mom on the ride back. I was like, "That guy called me Jason. Do I look like Jason? No, I don't. I am
That's how it
Michael
goes though.
Myers."
When you're a kid, like it's serious, and it's I don't like it though. Like if you don't know the costume, don't get. First of all, that's just embarrassing. This guy didn't know Michael. Like you could think like, oh, maybe he slipped his mind. But no, if anything, people think that Jason's Michael Myers. You don't think that Michael Myers is Jason. Michael
Right.
Myers is the character. That's like saying, that's like mixing up Dracula and the Wolfman, really. But like, what got me, I was Beetlejuice 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I was Beetlejuice, dude. The amount of there were 3 people that got it, and
Three people?
I wasn't like, oh, long sleeve white shirt that I like drew lines on. No, full suit, full costume, tie, like button. I didn't like put like the graphic T-shirt. No, I full like blazer,
Ooh.
pants. You
Video
know,
video listeners, check out that awesome photo that these
yeah.
these audio listeners are missing out on. Oh my god, look at how amazing that costume is. Look at the makeup. Look at the hair. Oh
That's
my
the thing
god.
too. Full makeup, full hair. I even flat ironed it a little bit so
You
that it
flat
would look a
ironed it.
little.
He
Yeah,
put
so that it would
color
look
in
a
it.
little bit.
I have the
I put
photo.
the color.
He put the color in. Also, these photos will be up on Instagram tomorrow when I do a Halloween post.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, go watch the video podcast if you wanted to see that.
3 people got it, and everyone else was like, "Oh, we got an old timey robber," and I'm like, first of all, that's racist, but
Oh my god.
like, really, dude. Yeah. No, you're right. You hit the nail on the head there, Francine.
Yeah,
Like
you're
striped blazer and pants and random. Because here's the thing: if it's just a striped blazer and pants, which usually for most people it is, striped blazer, pants, but with the makeup and the hair, what do you think? I'm just stupid. I'm just some stupid kid who was like, "I'll be an old timey robber. Let me just spray my hair green and then like slather some clown makeup on." What the frick? I was halfway to Killer Clowns and gave up and freaking put this nasty suit on. Like what?
Oh my god.
But I digress. That's just one thing that I don't miss as a kid is the houses that have the too scary decorations.
Yes, I was just about to bring that up. That's another
Yep.
one of my complaints too. Cuz you know what? It's funny because when you're in your neighborhood, you don't have to go by the too scary house when you're with your family as a kid. But
Yep.
then you start trick or treating with your friends who are all, awful and oh, come on, bro. That's not scary. What are you talking about? And then they're like, come on, let's go. And you're walking, and then you don't hear anything. And you turn around, and you're on the front step of the house, but you look and the group of your friends are standing back on the sidewalk just looking. Okay? That sucks.
Impractical Joker's punishment.
Exactly. And then you're up there and you're like, what? And you run back. That happened to me, folks. And it was this really, it was like a strobe. You know when you see a house on Halloween that's got that strobe light, or multiple, where you can't really make out what's going on, but it's just a big mess of jump scare and why would you go to the house? You know what I'm talking about?
They got like the realistic spider crawling on the wall.
Yeah, realistic spider, but also there's always that house that sometimes just takes it too far. You walk up there and the whole place is lined with like just the scariest looking like dead bodies ever. It's like, come on.
Yeah, the full graveyard with the zombies in the front
Full
lawn.
graveyard, like full zombies, like not even like the cute ones. And like I'm all about like scary Halloween, like yeah. But like come on, like
Usually
also
I'm like, yeah.
parents, don't, if you're with your kid on Halloween and there's a scary house and the kid's like, ugh, don't be like, go on, go get your daddy some go get some candy. Go get some candy. Just go get it. They probably got lots of good candy because they got big decorations. They got big candy. There, don't do that either. Because that'll traumatize your child. That's basically your parent just going, yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna let you go and walk inside that scary house and watch you get murdered. That's how that feels.
It does. That's true. I thought earlier when you were like, usually I'm like, yeah. Sometimes I'm like, yeah. Dude, all right. First of all, listeners, you gotta watch that Killer Clowns episode to get some of these jokes. We got like a good line. We had like a good line. If you like this type of thing that we're doing right now, you'd love last week's episode.
Oh yeah, dude. I told the story
anyway.
of the nut tagger. That the nut. If you're wondering what the nut tagger is all about, check out the last episode before this, Killer Clowns from Outer Space review. We're in the beginning. I tell the whole story.
Yeah. But I tell you what. Yeah. So there's that. Like, here's what I wish though. I wish people would make up their mind over what they actually want from their decoration. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Some people do the really scary house decorations, and sometimes they do have the best candy. Or in fact, some houses they do like hot dogs. Some houses do like some houses do like a miscellaneous type. They'll have like a goodie bag full of candy. They've got like
Rice
some houses
Krispies.
do like like Rice Krispies, cheese balls, like stuff like that. And it's like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like you don't see that often. That I can get behind. But when you're just a random house where, like, who knows, maybe the house is just decoration, no candy because some, like, loser kid was like, yeah, I'll take the whole bowl. Please take one. Yeah, right.
There's always those kids. Yeah, and parents, you listen up here. If you put out a bowl with a sign and it's like, just take one, like I can understand if you're not at the house, but here's the thing. If you're at the house and you just don't want to come to the door and don't expect kids to just take one. They're going to take the bowl. They are. So it's either be at the house and give candy or don't be at the house and turn all the lights off. No one's there.
Exactly.
You can't expect a kid to be like, oh, just because you have a Ring camera, I will smear the Kit Kat chocolate on my lips and kiss the camera and run off. That's what the kid's thinking. I'm sure kids have done it before.
I hope so. I'm waiting to see the CCTV footage of Dane Geringer buffalo billing his lip with the Kit Kat.
But yeah, what else do I dislike about Halloween. I don't know. We're on a tangent. Oh, this was my major gripe this year. I swear, I feel like most houses have put up the exact same decorations.
That's
Do you
true.
feel
A
like that?
lot of people were doing the Star Shower cop out, which we talked about in like very early on in the podcast.
Yes, yes. I'm seeing a lot of the star shower, but also I'm seeing a lot of people everywhere over this town. They have the exact same like spider web net that you attach to your roof and then you hook
Yeah.
it to your ground. Have you seen that, Nigel?
You have one of those, don't you?
I have one of those. And
Yeah.
when we got it at this house, I remember thinking, "Oh dear God," because I saw like 2 or 3 other houses in our city with that exact same one, and not and the exact same dead body that they put in the middle. There's like some like dead guy where you can like put him on a wall. It's just like him up against the wall, like he doesn't have a face or anything. And like
Yeah.
people are buying the exact same guy and putting him on the spider web, and it's like, what? So what? What you saw that? It was like, oh, I'm gonna copy that a few blocks down. I'm sure no one's gonna notice. Well, guess what? The creepy peepers noticed, and here we are talking about it on our podcast. All right.
Please write to P.O. Box CREEPY.
Exactly. Like, I'll tell you what though, and you know what, Nigel? Next time if you come over here, I got to take you up. Remember the area with that memorial in my neighborhood on that street?
Yeah.
Should I tell that story? Should I tell that? Should I say what that area is?
Uh, it's up to you, and like this is kind of a lighthearted episode, but
Well,
it's
okay,
up to you.
okay, all right. I'll just, you know what? I don't know. Here, okay. So one night, I'll just tell the story quickly, but I'll make it good.
You can tell the story.
I'll tell the
It's not
story.
like bad.
It's not bad, but it's like
a little creepy, but it's not like gross or anything.
yeah. So just the basic gist of it is the neighborhood I live in is cursed. It's straight up cursed. There's been a lot of evil here in the years. But the specific area we're talking about, we call it this memorial area because a few years back, can't remember how long ago, but you know, it was kind of recent, kind of not. I don't know. There was this up the ways from my house. There was a spot. It's kind of next to the nearest water tower, and there were these 2 children who were hit by a bus on that street and died. And they have a little angel memorial like on the side of the road where like on the road that they were hit. And I took Nigel up there, and did I tell you that that's what we were going to, or did we go there and then I just went, oh, by the way, here's where we are? I can't remember.
Yeah, the second one, Dane, and then I freaking ran away like.
Oh yeah. Okay, it's all coming back now. Yeah, that's funny. We just got up there and I was like, oh, by the way, you know, and I told him the story, and he ran down the street and he ran past the house where a woman was strangled by a hitman. Not even kidding about that one either. That on that same like road, this woman, her husband hired someone to kill her, and the guy strangled her and whatever and killed her, and then he took off and ran into the woods, and he ran past my uncle and his group of friends when they were younger, and they saw him just run through the woods. And it's like, can you imagine? Like, you're in the woods, you're like, oh man, and then you're like, you hear the leaves rustling, you're like, dude, what? And then this just shadowy figure just right through the woods, you know?
Yeah, that's crazy. I love when I'm out in the woods and me and my friends are like, oh man.
But aside from those real terrors on the street, on that road next to the memorial, a few houses down, there is an amazing pirate like setup. It's like a pirate Halloween decorated house. It's got all these different multicolored lights, a huge like hand sculpted octopus like in the front yard with like a giant head, glowing yellow eyes, tentacles everywhere, with a ship. And it's like cracking the ship, and there's skeletons on the ship, and there's skeletons playing chess under the tree, and Davy Jones is sitting there, and there's a skeleton getting cooked on some flames, and there's pirates everywhere, and there's lights, and I want to take a picture of this house every time I walk by it every night because I take night walks, and I always get my phone out, and they have this Ring camera, and I'm like, they're gonna look at this, be like, oh, look, it's another one taking a picture of our awesome house, and I'm like, yeah, I know, but like, I'd rather come up and be like, dude, this house is awesome, and like, than be like some hooded figure on like some camera and be like, oh, here's another one just taking a picture of our house.
Dude, that's no match for the my biggest pet peeve on Halloween. And I'll tell you that right after this, because first, here's some fan mail.
Oh, awesome. Check them out. Listen, yeah.
Hey, creepy peepers. I love the new episode with the killer clowns in outer space. I thought that was a really good episode, and I really liked the newest 3-course. I thought that was really interesting because I didn't know the origins of victim number 1, but I knew that used to scare me so much when I was younger, so I think that's really interesting. And I love you guys, and I love the show.
Happy Halloween, Creepy Peepers. This is the first super fan of Creepy Peepers, and my favorite episode is Ghostbusters because I listen to it on repeat and it's really good. And I also love the show, so yay! Happy Halloween!
And thank you once again for your lovely and happy Halloween to you too, folks who submitted.
That was beautiful.
It absolutely was. But getting back to our stories here. Oh, that's right. My biggest pet peeve on Halloween,
genuinely,
are the crowds of kids who think they're so funny and so cool because their parents let them go out by themselves and they're only 7 years old.
Oh. And they think they can come up to you and be like, Funk! And then just run off. And, it's like, yep. What? What is your problem? Yep. You're wearing a Ninja Turtle suit. What do you want?
When I was, like, teenaged, I always... Because, dude, what the frick kind of coming-of-age kids movie am I in where I'm flying solo trick-or-treating? Even if I'm, like, a teenage... Like I said, like, if I'm a teenager... Especially not as a kid, I don't want to be out on some like freaking sketchy street. I don't even care if it's like a king size candy bar. Like, dude, who's 7 years old? And it's always again some some kid who's so full of himself, who's like, trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. If you don't, I don't care. I'll pull down your underwear. Just kidding. Or am I?
I've never liked anyone who's sung the full song because you can clearly tell that some pedophile made it or something. I don't know. Like it's weird. It sounds like Dan Schneider came up with the lyrics of this song,
Yeah, it's
like,
a rough one.
Yeah, it's rough. Like anytime some kids is like, trick or treat, smell my feet. It's like, see now, like like when you think of feet, you think of it just ruins Halloween. This is a song that tarnishes Halloween. Okay, get Thriller, get
like even Jingle Bells, Batman Smells isn't that annoying compared to this.
Yeah, that one is not nearly as annoying. And it's like, what? It's like, it's just a whole ball of vulgar and like just grossness that is just all in one. People think it's like fun to sing, and it's like it's never been fun to sing. It's like halfway through the song, I'm just like I'm just slowing down. I'm like, trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good. Wow, this is a stupid song, you know.
They start going like chest hair. You're like, dude, I'm over it. I'm old.
Like I'm over it as soon as I say trick or treat. I just go trick or treat, and then like once you got to say smell my feet, then you feel gross, you know. Then you're like,
why do my feet smell so bad?
Right? Like, am I really someone who's got stinky feet and is like, you gonna smell them if you don't give me candy? Hmm? You gonna smell them? Like what? Who's out there on Halloween who's like trick or treat? It's like, you know what? I'm not going to give you candy. And then it's like, oh, what? He kicks off his shoes, you know, he pantses you. And it's like, look at this. Is this what you wanted?
To be fair, though, I feel like this is what Tyson does every, like, let's not forget. this is what Tyson does every year.
Yeah, Tyson.
Tyson, if you're watching, and we know you are.
I know you are.
But yeah, it's always, I don't get that. Why is there always just some kid? First of all, where are these kids? Because here's the thing. On one hand, you're like, oh, maybe he just ran ahead in front of his parents, which we all did as kids. Like, you're like, I gotta get to the next house. But then you're like, wait, what the frick? This kid doesn't actually have any group with him at all. And you're like, what?
Yeah, it's like, where did you come from?
Like, even if your parents were just like, oh, yeah. Like, even if you're in your own neighborhood, that's still weird to, like, just let your kid go out.
Yeah.
Like, even, I don't know. Like, you gotta be with a group. If you're with a group of other kids, it's like, okay. But, like, you're just by yourself, no parents even. It's like, dude, if a van tries to pick you up on the one Halloween where free candy is just free for all, then that's a little sketchy to me.
Exactly. Parents, again, stay with your children on Halloween. If your kid is like, hey, Mommy, Daddy, this year for Halloween, I'm going to put my big costume pants on and trick or treat by myself. How come there's some parents out there that just went, oh, yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. It'll teach you how to, it'll teach you about life real quick. Like, no.
Yeah, it'll teach you about death really quick.
It'll teach you about not having a kid. That's what it will teach you. And
we never thought this would happen. We thought he was going to get candy corn. Now what we have is no son, and we're forlorn.
Right, and now because Halloween always comes back year round, so it's not like you can just like try to forget about it either. Every Halloween it's gonna come around, and some kid's gonna be like, trick or treat, and you're gonna be like, ah, and then you're gonna slam the door, and then you're gonna be like, that's it, and you strap up all kinds of machinery. You take your stupid blue Jeep with ducks in the row. Yeah, I know you. And you drive out and you're like,
what's too good about that bit is that my mom has a Jeep with ducks in a row.
Exactly.
And that is an actual thing. All right, people who are out of the know, I just have to say really quick, I have to explain this bit just briefly, because I didn't know about this either until my mom got a Jeep. And I thought she was lying. I genuinely thought she was lying the first time she told me this. Okay. So when the Jeep community, there is a genuine community of rubber ducks being put in your window or windshield. And that's true. I swear I was like, there's no way, Mom. She's like, no, I'm serious. And they give out cards. They give out business cards. It's actually a really cool thing. They're like, you've been ducked. And they put ducks in a row, and that's a thing. But that is too good. The way that was a perfect shout out. You got your blue Jeep with ducks in a row. Yeah, I know you.
But that's when the mom goes crazy and starts finding kids. It's like, you're a kid alone. You're like, oh, I can't believe my mommy and daddy let me trick or treat all by myself. I'm gonna get so many candy, and then all of a sudden you hear, and then the window, and you see these red eyes in the driver's seat, and you're like, hey, are you giving me candy? And you just hear, where's your parents? Get in my car. I'm taking you back. Where do you live? Where? That's what will happen if you lose your kid on Halloween.
That is much right. I don't know what it is. Every time you do a miscellaneous sound effect, it's always funny. That's too good. Oh, but yeah, watch your kids. Watch your kids, parents. They're not funny.
Watch your kids at all times.
Yeah, exactly. Watch your kids at all times, but especially on Halloween when they think they're funny. Don't let them sing their little song. Don't let them do their bit. Keep an eye on them. Keep close with them. Make sure they don't get stolen. Actually, okay, I got a little bit of a dark story just to match up with your thing you told. When I was a kid, when I was in elementary school, we had this Christmas play. I was in, I think, 3rd or 4th grade. We had a Christmas play at my elementary school, and I was the understudy for Santa. Now, even though I was in elementary school, I still thought that was a big deal. Like, I was humble. I wasn't like a kid, like, I want to be Santa. But no, like, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm the understudy for Santa. And dude, the understudy never gets, like, the understudy like, nothing ever happens to the kid. Like, nothing ever happens to the kid. So if you're an understudy, that basically means you're not getting the part. Like, you're still second in command, but you're not getting the part. You still have to learn everything and do whatever. But dude, this is the one time where the stars aligned and I was wrong. This kid got hit by a car on Halloween.
Ooh.
Now, he survived, but oh my God, this kid came back to school. He had scars, like, up his leg, like up both of his legs, up his arms. I'm like, oh my God. Because this is the first, like, morbid thing. I didn't even see it happen. But I'm like, oh my God. I get to be Santa Claus. No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry. No, but the kid was, like, too good of a sport for being hit by a car and only in the 5th grade. He was like, oh, I got hit by a car when I'm not Santa anymore. I'm like, dude, you're just kidding. Am I about to get struck by lightning? What the frick? But it was scary, dude. Like, that was the first. It was still fun to be Santa, but I'm like, the whole time, I'm like, what the, like, wow. That was why, because I didn't even know that was a real thing. Like, you always see that in TV shows, like, oh, I got hit by a car. Like, the person's fine. But, like, dude, even though the kid ended up being okay, it was still like, wow. Like, this is something that I thought was real.
Wow. You also saw a car crash from your bus, didn't you?
From my bus?
Or from another car. It was a choir thing.
Yep. There was another car crash. I'll tell that story too, Dave. Thank you for reminding me. So this isn't a Halloween story, but I'll throw it in really quick because it is an interesting story. So we were doing a choir thing where we were like, okay, we're gonna go to the middle schools and be like, hey, middle schoolers, come join our choir. And so we went to it was actually me and Dane's middle school, me and Dane's old middle school, and I hadn't been there in ages. So I'm like, oh, let me say hi to all my teachers, yada yada yada. Okay, so we come out, and as we're leaving, all right, so all of our cars are leaving in a line. One car goes, we wait for the traffic to go. One car goes, wait for the traffic to go. This car goes, this other car T-bones them, but like diagonally, like shoots off the headlight, and fully, like, he comes careening into the brick wall on the other side of the road and drives like up it, fully flips over, dude.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe my eyes. Because first of all, that was only one car less than the one in front of us. So like if after like if I had been a second later coming out of that thing, or a second earlier coming out of that the school, then it would have been us. And I'm like, dude.
Yeah,
But like not only that, but also like that was it. I've never really seen a car like I've seen cars hit each other, you know?
we've
Like,
nearly
oh
been
my
in one
bumper.
too. Me and
Yeah.
Nigel Bailey have nearly. Well, I nearly got completely.
You would have died. From where
I
we were
would have died.
sitting,
Yeah.
yeah, from where we were sitting, you would have died. I would have gotten not crushed, but I would have like broken a couple bones. But I was in between. I was in the middle seat. We were in a full car. I was in the middle seat. You were on the right of me. The side that the car would have hit, you would have died. I would have gotten blasted. Like I would have gotten seriously injured.
I would have been pulverized.
Yeah, like it would have been bad. But we were all right. We didn't. The crash didn't actually end up happening. It was just the way that the car.
It was like a 1980s like style like swerving moment.
Yeah, it
You know,
was
like
like one of the yeah. Like all the characters are like, and it cuts the slow mo for so, or like what?
No, you know what's funny though is if that was a scene and it had a slow mo, it would cut to each person screaming oh. Then it would have cut to me, who was the closest to actual death, just sitting there, just looking.
Yeah, full
Unimpressed.
face.
Apparently, I didn't say anything.
It cut to you like full straight face. Dude.
Because this is how I felt. I just sat there. I was just like, this is it.
Yeah. Goodbye, yellow brick road. But yeah, so all of that aside, we now come to a close on our Halloween tales. But the episode's not over yet. Don't touch that dial.
Wait a
because
second. This
we have
isn't the
surprise.
ending. Don't touch that. No. You don't have to listen to the Joe Rogan podcast today. You could listen to this one because we have a little trick up our sleeves. Okay.
Yeah, a trick or treat up our sleeve.
Ooh.
Bam.
So, me and Nigel, we saw the Five Nights at Freddy's, the film, over a couple of days ago. I saw it, and Nigel just saw it today, right?
Hours ago. Yeah.
Hours ago. Fresh. So we thought at the end of this special Halloween episode, we'd give you a spoiler-free, fresh first fresh take on the movie. We're still gonna do a Five Nights at Freddy's episode. I think we're gonna do a couple actually.
Yeah, we're gonna do a few.
We're gonna do a few. We'll talk about the movie more in depth once enough time has passed and everyone has gotten a chance to see it.
Yep.
But for now, we thought we'd give you some spoiler-free tidbits, some thoughts, fresh takes, and what we feel. And I'm curious. I'm very curious as to like what Nigel, like thoughts. He told me his first thought before, but I want to know what he thinks now. So go ahead, tell me.
Absolutely. So here's the thing. I grew up with FNAF, as I'm sure many people in our generation did. We've talked about it very briefly. It's comparable to like there was a period of time where it was like Slender and FNAF were the biggest horror things of all time. Like those were the big two
in our generation. In our like
it was a brief
childhood,
window.
Teenage era.
Yeah. It was a brief window because Slender was kind of starting to die out around 2015, 2016. Really, like about a year after Slender the Arrival, it was kind of done.
Right. I still played a lot of those mobile games, though. The Slender mobile games.
Yeah.
I love those.
But, so I grew up with FNAF. I was very, like, I wasn't a FNAF kid. Like, I was into FNAF when it first came out. Then FNAF Kids started to start, and I was like, dude. But then I came back to it over COVID once they ported them to console, I was like, you know what? I've never actually played the full. Like I did this. I did like the demos, like most kids had to do. So once I played them on console, I was like, dude, this is like this works. Like you'd think that because they're on console, like, oh, it's less scary because it's on TV. First of all, that's dumb. I've heard people try to make that argument, and that's dumb. Okay, it's no, you're not gonna like it as much because it's on a bigger screen. Yeah, you're right. It's not as scary, even though it's bigger. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
because tarantulas aren't as scary as the frickin' common daddy longlegs. You're right. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're stupid, but you're right. Right. I didn't
Yeah,
think about that.
We'll
Yeah,
listen to
I
you
bash
now.
your head into a wall. That's okay. But if I bash your head into a concrete brick, you know what? That's okay. All right, Professor. I'm sorry. I get mad when people try to say that, and I'm like, dude, no, you're not just wrong. You're stupid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Us creepy
But anyway.
peepers, we stand our ground on our opinions. If you couldn't tell.
Yeah. But that's only because, like, obviously, to me, that makes perfect sense. I'm like, yeah, of course, if it's on a bigger screen, it'd be scarier, right? And it's also in your living room. It's not on your phone or on your laptop in a coffee shop. It's in your living room, dude.
Where hopefully you've turned off enough lights,
Yeah.
I always played Five Nights at Freddy's in the dark, no matter what.
Yeah.
Even if I was
That's
really scared. That's the way to play. Sometimes that's how you have to play when it comes to some of the games. But we're not talking about the games.
Yeah, well, we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. But okay. So anyway, point is though, I grew up with FNAF. I played the console games and I got back into FNAF and I really appreciated this franchise. I've seen all the game theory, Pat, everything.
Yeah.
And I will say I will say this. I think they handled it very, very well. Now, I'm unfortunate to see that the movie has a 27% on Rotten Tomatoes, but I think that I would give it a much higher score than that. I won't spoil it until we do the actual in-depth review, because there'd be no point in repeating my skull rating twice. But I think it's worth it to go see if you're a fan of the games. Even if you're not a fan of the games, you might be confused, but you might still like it. Now, one thing that you might notice if you are up to date or even like a little bit familiar with the lore is that they didn't take the straight up lore of the actual games and put it into the movie. They kind of mixed a bit of the game with the first book, I think.
Right. Yeah, they had a lot of elements from the book and elements from the games that are more commonly known.
Yeah.
And
but also,
yeah,
they didn't Willy's Wonderland this. They put the effort in. You can tell they put the effort in. The animatronics look great. They really do. Even the parts where it's definitely humans, it doesn't look like Banana Split's movie where it's just, oh, that's some 19-year-old in a mascot costume. No, like it looks legit. It works.
The way the creatures, the animatronic people, the way they move they definitely were trained. It's definitely choreographed because they move like animatronics. Like they move exactly how they're supposed to. The special effects of the movie are spectacular. This movie looks good.
It looks really good.
Like it looks very well made.
And I think that the cast is good. The cast, actually, that's one thing I did notice. All of the cast actually turns in like a really, really good performance.
Yeah.
Very little do I say that about a movie and believe it. Not like I'm BSing every time I say it. It's just like I'm like, yeah, it's a good performance, but like, no. This there is not one performance in this. Every movie so far that we've reviewed, I've been like, maybe there's one or two guys who, I'm not so keen on. This movie, genuinely, I don't think there was one person that I thought was phoning it in, or either wasn't giving it their all, or like just was doing like too much. It was perfect. The acting in it was perfect. That's true.
Yes, I agree. And there's a few points about like a couple line deliveries I'm going to talk about in the in-depth review, but I think all those line deliveries are perfect. This movie, it knows. That's the thing about this movie that I found out coming out is that if you are a fan who's grown up with it as long as, excuse me and Nigel have, you will definitely appreciate the film. Because there's certain points where they turn up the camp, and you know it's a huge wink moment, or there's all kinds of there's certain characters that act a little crazy, but and they're kind of like stereotypically cartoonish here and there. I hope Nigel knows what I'm talking about, but
I might know what you're talking about.
you have to keep in mind that this is still kind of set in this world of this video game, so it's believable that some of these characters in this world of Scott Cawthon would purposefully act like a cartoon like this. I'm mainly kind of talking about one character. I'm talking about the evil ant. I can say what you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
Don't worry, that's not a spoiler. That's not a spoiler.
That's not, yeah.
Because you don't know what we're talking about. But,
yeah. I heard. Right. I heard a lot of people saying that like her performance was bad, but I was like, she characters like this exist in the games. Like this is normal for to have sort of a fairy tale-esque evil ant in this. I thought.
Yeah.
No,
I think you're right. I think it actually reminded me a bit of Nostalgia Critic talking about the evil stepmother in Cinderella.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's like it's an evil role, but like it's almost like a mysterious where you're like intrigued.
Yeah.
Like you want to know the backstory.
My thoughts just coming straight out of it was, yeah, they did it. They did. They came around, they pulled the strings, and they did very well. Also, another thing that I wanted to point out was, even though this was a PG-13 rated movie, this movie went there in some places.
Yeah, they had a really good scare at one point. They had a really good scare, like a really good gore moment at one point. I was like, wow, like you don't normally see that in nowadays PG-13.
Nuh-uh.
Like they don't even swear as much as they used to be able to in PG-13 as they do now. Now they say like one A-hole, one S, like that kind of thing. Like,
right.
Be like, we'll throw in like 15 GDs, but that's it. Like,
And I would have thought that something like that scare I thought would have been mentioned, but we actually see it happen, and it's like, what? I mean, and they do it very, they do it in a way to get around it just enough to keep the PG-13, but it's still all those moments where they go there, it's just enough just to be like, oh,
Yeah, I was really impressed with the way they did that on that one. But I will say this, and this is probably my last note. Dane, you might have more. But I will say there's gonna be a moment or like a slight, like small section in the movie that happens with the animatronics specifically.
Yep, I know.
That you are definitely not expecting them to do.
Yes,
but that I'm kind of glad. And like I'm glad that they went there.
Yes,
that briefly.
I at first when I when I saw that, I at first was like, what?
Yeah, no. So was I.
And I was scared that was going to be the rest of the movie.
So was I. That's exactly. I think that they subverted your expectations so well on that, because I also, the first time I saw it, I was like, dude, this is stupid. But then they like kind of like brought it back around where it was like, okay, no, but it's cute. It's cute. So you know what?
It's
Maybe
cute.
I can.
And then you realize that it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
then the rest of the movie plays out. And so then they, I'm glad that they tricked us by making us think the movie was going to be bad.
100%.
Because they knew this movie was good.
I think overall 100%. I think they went for it. They fought the good fights. They rolled with the punches. But I think the fan base overall, too, from what I hear, the fan base is impressed. Rotten Tomatoes might not have been, but the fan base overall has had a generally positive response. And I do like that.
Yeah. I'm glad that I am living on planet Earth where the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, after years of demanding, has come out and has succeeded super well. Folks, we hear now, the movie's just come out. Literally, it's just come out. And the movie is so successful that like there's already like 5 different rumors about the sequel.
Yep.
And like 2 of them are confirmed already and whatnot. And it's like, like we're locked and loaded, baby.
I'm excited because here's the thing. For any of you who don't know any of the interworkings of FNAF lore-wise, Scott, who makes all the games, had retired relatively recently from the actual game making portion of it.
Oh yeah.
So the fact that I would hope at least he would be on board for the movies, that's all I need.
And that's why it took so long for this movie to get made, is because Scott didn't want the movie to disappoint the fans.
And you know what is something? And I just realized Scott was smart and he was right. Because it occurred to me, the Super Mario Brothers movie. Yeah, kids liked it. If you care at all about Mario Brothers, for the most part, people did not like it. They thought, why didn't they just have Charles Martinet do the voice?
I didn't bother seeing it.
Neither did I.
Because I didn't.
Musical.
One thing I definitely wasn't, and I'm sorry, folks, but I didn't grow up a Nintendo kid, and so I have no interest at all in the movie. I still like Mario Kart though. Mario Kart 8. That's good.
Oh yeah. Yep. But yeah, so that's for now. That's all we're gonna say. We wanted to throw in that little special surprise for sticking with us through all of our.
Because you guys are eager. Probably you guys probably just saw the movie too. If and you probably are wondering, I wonder what the Creepy Peepers think of the movie. Well, here you are.
And there you go. That's it. And that's all. Happy Halloween from the Peepers.
OMG. Thanks for listening, folks. I hope you can squeeze this episode into your Halloween schedule.
Yeah. But that's it, and that's all. Thank you very much for listening to the Creepy Peepers Halloween special. We hope you had as much fun as we did, and please take your candy bag as you see your way out the door.
Get out of this
Creepy
Peepers podcast.
trick or treat.
That's all right, you kids. I told you to get off my lawn and get this every now and then. When I turn the light off, that means you get in no more trick or treaters and they got out.
So basically, hello? Screw you. What?
This has been a Just a Guy Network audio production.